Assalamu alaikum. We would like to welcome all of you to our today's workshop, which is going to be about writing a paper presented by Mr. Mohammed Haseen. So, Mr. Mohammed, the floor is yours. You may start now.
As we all know, that this evening is scheduled for a workshop on reflective writing. And I'm going to introduce some of the features, some of the unknown facts or known facts about what a reflective writing is. Since the word reflection itself suggests that it is not something just about writing a summary or recapitulation of. It's more to do with our thought process. I mean, the way we experience things and the way we interact in our daily life and share our experiences. So what is reflective writing actually? If you could say a slide that tells us that it's a way to achieve clarity and better understanding of what you're learning. So it's not just understanding, it's in-depth, better understanding with crystal clear messages. And it's also a chance to develop and reinforce writing skills. That means usually we write to respond to some queries or some kind of official document, but this reflective writing is a piece that actually more to do with it's more to do with sharing your own beliefs about your own thoughts, about your own concerns, and make a meaning out of what you study. I mean, it could be as simple as having any experience in your life. Could be terrible, could be pleasant, could be a mixed feeling of joy and sadness, maybe dejection, disappointment. So it's a way of looking back and making meaning of the experiences that underwent during the course of your life, during the course of your stay in your, school, college, university, or any job. So we are supposed to write this reflective writing in order to present a paper where you will be judged based on your not only the essential skills, writing skills that we reflect in our writing, but also about your dogmas, your beliefs, your personal takeaway from the situation. Situation could be favorable or could be not so favorable, but you rose up being wiser. In fact, having to understand the situation better and to be able to cope up with the situation, the afterlife, future incidents. Guys, I would like you to spend around 2 minutes to look at this reflection of somebody who is extremely, popular and is very famous. In fact, all of you might have heard his name. Oh, great. So Naba says it's Elon Musk. Yeah, he's filthy rich, the richest person on earth. In fact, he has amassed $200 billion. And he's, he and his crazy ideas and his, enterprising nature has left the world aghast, stunned with, and he has come up with most of the unheard, inconceivable ideas, whether it's a car, electric car, whether it's SpaceX, whether it's colonizing or sending hundreds of thousands of people to Mars. Actually, he's going to have, he's had a plan of interplanetary inhabitation, and he thinks that we must give a chance to other planets, if at all, God forbid, this Earth is no more livable with us. So why I've chosen this extract, this is coming from his own mouth, and when he reflects back upon his failures in the past, and he has had terrible experiences of, and he was left broke. And when he looks at it now, from the perspective of what he learned, what went right, but there were terrible failures. Hundreds of space crafts. He lost millions and millions of. In fact, so actually, I wanted to share a video of him, if I could do that. Anyway, let's move on to, so this guy, he invested in Tesla, he made a lot of money. And when he was a child, he could see an inspiration in the future. He says, why can't we do something which wasn't attempted so far? So I want you to think, reflect upon some of your childhood days memories where you thought that there was something really impossible to do, impossible to achieve. But later on, you could successfully overcome that hurdle or fear or inhibition, and then you were really able to deliver. So if somebody could share something in the chat box, that would be really lovely to look at. And in fact, this reflective writing is all about how you get into the mode of, you're geared for deeper thinking or inner thoughts processing. It's more about, there's nothing right or wrong in the reflective writing, in fact, apart from some mechanical errors and that we look for. So is anyone who would like to share any of the experiences of childhood memory? Okay, what's the role of other opinion or reflective writing if we are not able to differentiate facts from fantasy? Will it be useful for the audience we target? Yeah, of course, reflective writing is a bit away from the, factual writing, in the sense that we're not dealing with what happened. We're not summarizing or chronology of the past, so it's not a historical fact. In fact, every experience has to be looked upon as a way, as a chance to bring about a differentiation, and whether it could be a fantasy, even if it's a fantasy, and you learn to be imaginative and you learn to think differently, that will be a takeaway from that experience. And that's what this reflective writing is all about, writing a reflective paper. In fact, you made my task very easy, that reflective writing is not, as a child, I had stage fright, which I overcame through a quiz competition. It gave me confidence to engage a lot in public speaking. Great. Yeah, Daima, yeah. So many, stages of life we undergo, and every stage offers a altogether different set of challenges to us. And primarily, every challenge appears to be as if it's insurmountable and you cannot achieve it. But when we give it a try, we give it a go ahead, we find that no, it is achievable, and humans can really do a lot of. So what is not reflective writing? If you look at this, what is not? So if we say what is not, it's not just conveying information. That's what Mr. Hussein Ahmed, he was pointing at, how do you differentiate between fantasy and fact. In fact, it's not just conveying information or instructions or argument or pure description. It is different, it is distinguishable, and it is completely personal, and it's the inner thought process that's brought to the paper. So it's a straightforward decision or judgment. I mean, after that, you have to come up with some sort of, a leeway in your life, sort of, effective transformation. So when we're looking at reflective writing, it talks about how it left you different, and it left you a bit more reformed, improved, confident in your decision making or judgment making, whether something was right or wrong, good or bad. And it could be a simple problem solving, supposedly you didn't know how to drive, and then you began trying it and giving it a trial and error method. So you came to know that, oh, it's not so difficult to drive a heavy vehicle, because we have steering, we have a brake, we have accelerator, and we have other things to control. So if it has a speed, it also has something to control. And moreover, I mean, you learned how to focus. Focus also about not only the road rage, not only the problems that traffic, I mean, itself offers or poses. So it's like, whenever we undergo any sort of new experience, we get to know a lot of newer things. So it's a summary of course notes. A standard university essay will be like a summary of course note, but I really reiterate my point that it's not just a description of the facts alone. So look at the structure of how do we structure it. In fact, structurally, it's not different from the rest of the writing tasks, like introduction. There will be body sections. Body sections could have multiple paragraphs, depending upon how much you want to write. In fact, most of the reflective writer papers, they vary in length, and they're ranging from around 300, 400 to 700 words. I mean, in fact, there are no well delineated rules about how long, it has to be word count and all that. So we have conclusion. Of course, every introduction has to be an attention grabber, appealing. You need to have a thesis statement to begin with as a catchy slogan, or it could be an anecdote. It could be simply as a joke. But you know that, I mean, every introduction which doesn't have a good attention grabber, or it doesn't leave you irresistibly glued to the rest of the paragraphs, you have already lost control of your audience or writer. I mean, the reader. So it's very important to have good argument, mostly problem, debate related. It could be, contestable or competing forces or competing themes, like advantage, disadvantage. It could be a pros and cons of taking a decision. Like it could be as simple as that you wanted to buy a car. Now the electric company's car, that's the future of. Now there's no point in buying a new car with the outdated technology. So what makes your decision switch over to something different? So that's reflection. And what is not reflective writing? It has to be we don't have to have like look at this slide now. Reflective thinking requires looking forward as well as back. You could see that this guy is holding a mirror, and mirror allows us to not only show us the frontal appearance, but also it allows us to look within. So whenever we stand before a mirror, actually we are looking into inside, and we are looking not only at our external presentation, but also looking at our self-esteem and confidence. So this guy has a dual view of so what is actually reflection? I mean, if we begin with what do you start with? Like thinking about? I mean, could be thinking about what? can you some of you guys give me something like thinking about or pondering on, I mean deep thinking about, what do you normally you know, even on daily basis in our daily life, our workplace, or our you know, social life, what do we mostly think about? What do we mostly think about? Is it the banal you know, daily day-to-day problems of buying stuff, going to the supermarket? Or yeah, it's like experiences, yeah, and end of the work, or whether you have some targets, you have some challenges, whether you're going to meet the deadline. Most of the time we usually aim at meeting our deadline. We keep pondering, we keep thinking and pondering about meeting our deadline. We also keep, you know, procrastinating, I mean like deferring our decisions about what to do, not to do, what we need to accomplish. Yeah, every day, yeah, obviously, you know, we have long-term goals, we have short-term goals, and also sometimes we recap how was the day. Was it a successful day? Was it a waste of the day? Was it a, you know, pleasant day? Did you come up with something that really left you emboldened, ennobled, more with greater confidence? And so most of the time we're asking in our heads some of the questions about. We also discuss our inner selves, you know, revisiting notions. Yeah, Rida, fantastic, you know, yes. We need to alter our own notions sometimes, because most of the humans are notional. We go by our flimsy assumptions. We always go by our own beliefs and dogmas, whether it's culturally imbued, whether it's socially, you know, I mean, like we are all living a regimented kind of life with certain belief system, and we have to break this belief system. And we have to try, you know, I mean, discuss with, you know, work something out. I mean, somebody that is tricky situation and only you could help out, or probably sometime you seek the guidance, counseling, or others, how to making sense of things. You know, sometimes we really at a loss, we are at a loss, and we don't know really, is it going to help us in some sort of, I mean, there's so many things in our college life, our study, academic life, that we wonder whether it's really going to pay us in rich dividends in the long run, or whether we're simply wasting our time. So learning from experiences, helping you plan for the future. I mean, we always think about how our present decisions is going to affect our future, right? So the reflective writing starts with that. I mean, so when you you know, make up your mind to write reflective writing, I mean, don't worry at all about you know, the, you know, much of the planning and diagram and all that. That actually won't help you. The first thing you have to do, just pick up a pen and a paper. Be spontaneous, in fact. I mean, don't exert, be effortless. Let all the ideas, whatever, you know, even the bizarre kind of ideas, I mean, crazy, weirdest things possible could come to your mind. Don't worry about that. Include them in your, you know, sketch. Write down ideas that come to you. Don't worry about structure, order, spelling, grammar to begin with. I mean, if you start working on these kind of mechanical errors, you would end up having your imagination stifled. You know, you'll have a block, you know, writer's block. I mean, all of us know what is a writer block, right? So actually writer's block is nothing but when we start overthinking, over exerting ourselves with the kind of, you know, expectations that abound us. I mean, like you have to be structurally, grammatically, and what is more important, reflecting, right? I mean, you have to be imaginative in the sense that you have to take stock of the entire scenario, I mean, entire situation. It's not just, you know, in isolation what actually happened. It's not a factual, you know, inventory of the consequence of the you know, first step, second step, third step. It's not a process writing, in fact. So it makes sense later with the help of a more formalized structure. Obviously, when you have your ideas and all, there will be a framework for that, and it will be easier for you to glean out those facts or those which you find almost irrelevant later, and you can always have the choice of having to. So what are the source of reflections, guys? I mean, think of the source of reflection like everyday events could be the source of inspiration. What have you learned? Okay, everyday events could be a source of reflection. What do you say? Positive experiences?
Yes, of course.
Now, guys, can you share one of your positive experiences lately? I mean, lately that you had. I mean, it could be in the social life, it could be in a family, it could be, I mean, give me an instance of a positive experience and negative experience. Guys, when your day goes good because of performing well in college. Okay, someone dinged my card on the left and apology note with the phone number. Oh, that was a positive experience. I mean, that there are nicer people who could always confess to their being furious at a faulty driver. I mean, this is a bad experience, right? Yeah, sometimes we lose our temper and we don't think right in the sense that it could happen to us one day. And probably later we realize when we go to bed, we realize that probably it was a disproportionate response to what you did or what you didn't, right? Yes, being furious with follow driver, yeah. Give me an eventful incident, I mean, eventful that you still remember, you can't forget. Can you give me an example of an eventful incident? Eventful means that stays in your memory, subconscious memory, even after you're finished with that. Visiting a new place. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah. I mean, just visiting a new place or having an incident. I mean, unusual incident. I mean, striking friendship with someone. I mean, the one who is your best friend now could have been, I mean, a chance experience. So you could have met him first day as bedside nurse. Oh, great, Sarah. Yeah. I mean, the first day of your job, experience or the workplace is always, to remember. In fact, we as teachers also remember our first day in our section for first day of this, lecture. And we also remember if somebody among the students, he stood out, he or she, because of some kind of bizarre, weird, or pleasant, or some kind of standout behavior. And like, also we remember the things. I mean, like somebody wanted to hug, somebody wanted to have your, autograph. I mean, sometimes our students ask for the autograph, and they make us feel important. Yeah. So yes, routine activities. I mean, there are unusual incidents, but also routine activities could have something to carry. Like probably you woke up late in the weekends, and that weekend was a fabulous weekend. Probably you started cooking. Probably you tried some sort of new food. Or it could be an important event when, like today's could be an important evening for me because I'm here to deliver this session. So it could be an important event in my life, And if there is any takeaway that I will always cherish in my memory in the rest of my life. So some events are meaningful, but believe me, it's mostly, it's up to us to make any event meaningful or meaningless. Fruitful or fruitless. Do you agree? I mean, it's up to us to make the day or make the best out of the day. Do you agree, guys? Yeah, it's our attitude. Yeah, most of the way I look at things. Okay. So, I mean, so it's up to us to make even the very unusual sort of day into a very important day, right? Right? Right. Now, I'm still not getting people to really, share their private, personal experiences in their life when they were really, really, into some sort of euphoria. It's like frenzy, and I'm like, too much of excitement. And I really want someone to share a belief system or a dogmas which got changed over the time because of the new experience. Yes, I'm still waiting for someone to share the views, and I really want someone to write the first few lines of how we interact, everything that adds up to our experience and builds up our personality reflective. Yes, yes, I mean, those can be the features of our, personality assets. It could be the way we look at the our interaction with other people, right? Okay, so now what is actually a reflection paper? Look at this photo. A reflection paper is a formal essay about your thoughts, ideas, reactions, then to reading some books, any article, lectures, or experience, or it could be you can write about what you observed and how this literature experience. You can write, literature or your understanding of some material, right? Now, just by looking at this picture, what do you find? What is interesting about this picture? Can anyone tell me what is interesting about this picture? What is required of? Yeah.
I think she was relaxed when she writing. Her mind is
Guys,
yes.
in the chat box, I don't say, condensed with meaning, rather. I have an experience of judging people until someone surprised me and left me thinking a lot about it later on, which changed my belief. The person is logging something, some thoughts. The person is logging something, some thoughts. What do you mean by logging? I don't get it, Daima. What do you mean by logging? just noting down thoughts. Oh, okay, okay. I mean, you're just jogging down, just taking a note of what happened, right? Writing down notes. Okay, yeah, that's a good way of having to reflect later, because it allows you to have a recapitulation or rethinking about what really, was not right, what really was wrong, right? Or what could have been actually altered. I mean, what could have been done a bit differently, right? Right? Yeah. So, yeah, now I can see some more participation in this. And can I have some more participation from the rest of the people?
There is a problem with the screen
Guys,
display.
yeah, I can see responses only from some people. I mean, specific people. So, yeah.
Do you mean about the picture?
Okay.
I think it's like free writing for some idea, something.
So who
Not a
can
study.
free writing?
Yeah, free
Taking
write.
rests down. Okay.
Like not a study, just free writing. And she use. I think she has a
All
cup
right.
of coffee, and she has some.
So now,
Yes,
if you
something like
are
this.
you looking at
Mediate.
the text?
Yeah, something like
It appears to be
mediate.
inverted, right?
Yeah, something like mediate or something to
The text is inverted,
motivate.
right?
Yeah, motivate her to write more and to think more from this picture like this, yani.
Right. Can you read the text in this inverted position? Anyone can read the text in inverted position? Text updated down. Yeah. I mean, if we try to read the text in inverted position, it allows our brain to tax, to stress, to exert, and it gives us altogether a different outlook, right? How many of you would be able to read this in an inverted position? And how long? Yes, I can read it. Okay. Yeah, screen share is stopped. Yeah, screen share is stopped. Is it? Okay, let me check with the, okay, desktop, all right.
So it's not clear.
Now, can you see the screen now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Is the screen?
Yeah, we can see the screen clearly. It's okay.
Yeah, okay. So now I try to invert it. Yeah, and now you can see that this is the reflection. So sometimes we have to invert our outlook and to have a fresh insight into what's going on, right? Now look at this. Can you have a look, spend around 2 minutes on this, and see how we think about our actions, our solving problems, how we employ critical thinking, and how we seek deeper meaning, and also how we suggest changes after having an altogether different approach. So we examine the assumptions. Can you share some of your assumptions so far you have held, but somehow it got shattered? Anyone out there? Can you share your assumptions that got shattered? I mean, if someone is willing to share his or her ideas, he or she can be unmuted. I mean, with the permission of the host. I mean, it's fine. I mean, if it is hard to share it in the chat box, I mean, anyone can be invited to share the experience. So I want someone to share how the assumptions or attitude or the value belief system underwent a change over the time. It could be it's just a matter of a day, a matter of time. It could be. So how are you going to start? I mean, if you're willing to start, and I want you to scribble something. Look at this. So how to start? Step by step reflecting writing. Now look at this. This seems to be really complicated, but actually it's not. I mean, if it's spontaneous and you're ready to, just, fasten your seatbelts and ready to drive, you are ready to go. I mean, read your subject's main source topic thoroughly. I mean, think of the subject you're going to talk about, but thoroughly. I mean, have a full, deeper insight into all the happenings, events, all the associated things that went around. Only then you can have the entire idea in totality. Then you highlight your notes, and when you make some notes, I mean, I told you that it has to be spontaneous, jot down as many as possible. Then you highlight those which are really eventful. I mean, they're those which are difficult to forget, and you're going to have it in your memory. I mean, lasting memory. I mean, it's not going to go away. So it could be summarizing the ideas in a chart form. It could be in the diagram form. It could be in the, I mean, if it helps, it depends upon how you want it to, how you'd like to go, with this. So it depends. New experiences in life. I mean, if we keep postponing the things and deferring decisions, and so how to start and summarize the ideas, chart, or so when we have charts, and what kind of writing charts will help us? Any idea? What kind of writing the chart will help us?
Maybe in writing about categorizing things, for example, or steps. Flow charts can help us with writing, in which we have a process.
I mean, suppose I want to talk about my big extended family members. Will the chart help us?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, why not?
Will the chart help us?
Yes.
Indeed. I think so.
Now I'm trying to look at the chat box also along with this thing. So who can see? So you can choose that. We can't see you. I guess it's visible now, right?
No, no, it's
Yes. Oh, that's good. So yeah, I wanted to you guys to share your thoughts about, what kind of writing, reflective writing. You can use the charts, like comparing two things, three things, four things. It could be weather, it could be your personal experiences with altogether different people. How can it help to have the diagram? The diagram can have the chronological order of the extended family, probably. And, so the whole thing is we have to have some sort of, risk taking while you are doing the writing, reflective writing. Now, what kind of risk do we have to take? I mean, if I talk about risk taking while writing this, what kind of risk do we have to take?
maybe being spontaneous.
Anyone out
without
there? Can you stop video and share the presentation? Yes, I'm trying to do that. Stop video, okay. New share. Okay. Okay, files. Okay. Guys, what is the risk taking? I mean, what kind of, risk do you take? Guys, what kind of risk do you take?
Do you mean
while writing
errors?
and reflective writing? Do you worry more about, mechanical errors, grammar mistakes, structural problems, or you're more worried about doing the, an account of the presentation of your personal experiences? Guys?
second.
Sorry, first of all, we have to have a structure for a reflection writing, like what we're supposed to start, as you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. Like, for example, problem statement, then what is the benefits from this problem statement? What is the advantage, disadvantages? Like kind of structure, but not like narrative story without taking like a message, take home message from that.
Guys,
from
any thoughts
reflection.
on that? I mean, what kind of risk-taking writing will you take when it comes to guys? I mentioned some points. Which points do you mean? Did you hear me, doctor? You were unmuted. I mean, I couldn't hear you. I mean, you talked.
Yes.
Did you talk? Okay,
Yes.
great. Yeah, I can hear you now. My apologies, sincere apology. Could you please revert? I mean, you know, come again? I couldn't hear you. Come again?
Okay. First of all, I said we have to have like a clear structure about reflection writing. Like as you mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, you listed like we have to have like an idea or the problem statement, and then what is the advantage and advantages from this statement problem, and to list some like evidence from the literature review to
Yeah.
support that problem statement in order to write like narrative story without taking any home message, for example, or learning.
Great. It's a great input from you. In fact, I'm
Yes.
I'm happy to hear that. I mean, we go by our reflections from the experiences side, and then we also talk about the pros and cons, advantage, also what could have been done differently or could have been tweaked, altered, or so. And then we get to the conclusive, you know, I have shared the slides again on our Chrome tab. Is it visible to you guys?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Actually, I wanted to play a video, if you don't mind, because we still have some time. It's just 2 minutes video, and that will really give you a brilliant example of how reflection helps us to, you know, change our ways, change our outlook, and also leaves us well reformed. If I'm able to share the video and the audio, please let me know.
There is no sound.
Like a Corona beer commercial. Have you ever thought about that as a career option?
Can you
It's
guys
okay now.
watch the video?
Yes, we can hear the sound and see the video.
Oh, great. You know, I mean, you have left me really relieved. You know, I thought probably it won't play out. So I want you to.
You know, I find that really pretty boring. So that would be torture. If I had to do that every day, that would really be pretty awful for me. I really need to be preoccupied with something. If I'm just sort of sitting there relaxing, I can only do that for a very short period of time, and then it becomes unbearable.
Basically prepared to work constantly, you know, from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. You have to be willing to deal with a lot of difficult problems and thorny problems, willing to deal with an enormous amount of stress. You just got to push yourself super hard. I wouldn't recommend it for most people. I definitely feel stressed. Yeah, it's been incredibly difficult and painful the last several months.
Painful?
Absolutely, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sleeping on the factory floor, not because I think that's like a fun place to sleep. You know, terrible.
Sleeping on the factory floor, why are you doing that?
Because I don't have time to go home and shower. I don't believe like people should be experiencing hardship while the CEO is like off on vacation. I certainly never expected to see the level of success that's occurred because I'm actually an engineer, and but I discovered that in order to do the engineering that I want to do, I have to have my own company. Otherwise, somebody makes me do something I don't want to do. For me, it's always about does what I'm doing matter? If we are successful, does it matter to the world? And so there are easier ways to make money than starting a rocket company or, say, a car company.
Guys, so far,
ये इस समय तोते उड़े हुए हैं 16 घंटे में कीव को गिरा लेंगे ये सोचा गया था
guys, I hope you recognize this guy. Hello, are you with me, all of you?
Yeah, we are.
Yes,
You.
we are with
Elon,
you.
Elon Musk.
Okay. I mean, why I played the video, because this guy, you know, he's reflecting upon his past, and the past was terrible. Actually, he made lots of blunders, so to say. I mean, he was behaving recklessly. He was taking brazen decisions. He was taking bad decisions hundreds of times. In fact, you know, there was a time when I told you he was completely broke. He spent all his money. He, the one who's the richest person on earth, he had to sleep on the factory floor once. And he didn't go home, in fact, because he was reflecting upon, he's an engineer, and he wanted to make it a success, maybe 100 times, 1,000 times. So this is what, you know, helps us in reflection. When we go back to our own shortcomings, mistakes, and we, you know, like this, when I was a child, remember, I can show you this, you know, slide. This is coming from his own mouth. Now he has been successful. What NASA, the American NASA, National Aeronautical Space Agency, couldn't do. That whole America could not do. This individual guy, with plenty of great team members, he has been successfully able to not only launch, but also hoping to, in fact, by 2030, inhabit Mars, which we sounded so, impossible. In fact, he has lots of firsts to his credit. In fact, the things that he has been thinking of and the ideas in coming up, appears to be bizarre to begin with. But when we reflect, really, like this reflecting thinking requires looking forward as well as back. This guy is not simply looking forward. He's also reflecting upon, the backward, past mistakes, or maybe, I would not say they're mistakes, actually. All those mistakes or failures are like stepping stones to success. Every, failure actually results in a success when you persist, when you don't give up. That's the thing, So that's why reflection paper or reflective writing, it comes handy. It's like a mirror. Your own writing is like a mirror to yourself. So source of reflections could be your personal life, personal gains, personal losses, personal, terrible experiences, pleasant experiences. Could be, just having a chance discovery, having to have strike friendship with somebody. Having to have altogether, visiting a new place. Or it could be as simple as that you went without food. You didn't have a proper place to sleep. Like Elon Musk didn't have they didn't go home. Actually, he sold all his houses, all the villas at that time because he was broke. Every penny he spent on this enterprise, and he never gave up actually. And he even has the kind of internet service provider. It's called Starlink in the orbit. He has this. Even recently there were failures. There are so many satellites went, awry because of the jet stream. So while writing your, reflective writing, your first column, you should exclude your general overarching ideas. Overarching ideas means it's not just a general idea. You have to go beyond.
Far-fetched.
Yeah, far-fetched. Yeah, very great. I heard the right word, far-fetched. I wasn't thinking of that word. Even you have to go to far-fetched ideas. Probably that would be, practicable. Probably it could be pragmatic one day. Probably it could be, realized. It could be a dream come true. But give it a chance. Don't worry about the mistakes or follies or. We humans are born with our deficiencies and folly. The second column, we should include briefly summarized version of your main idea. Obviously you cannot include everything in your 500 to 700 words, reflective paper. So summarize the version of the main ideas. Then the third column should be like a description, your reactions, your reflections, your, kind of, personal takeaway. It's very important when you have your personal takeaways. That's very important. Give your opinion, and the opinion of others. I mean, also it's important to give the opinion of others. So risk taking, when I was talking about the risk taking, look at this guy. Do you see this guy?
Yeah, we can.
You see the guy?
Yes, yes.
This guy is, yeah, this guy, he has put all his eggs into baskets and all baskets on one bike, and he is driving, and he is looking forward to, I mean, carrying all those eggs intact. I mean, this is kind of risk taking that we have to go for when you go for the reflective writing. So your attitude, your reflection, yeah, it's quite risky. And that's what life is all about. I mean, if you don't undertake adventures, if you don't take the risk, if you're not challenges, I mean, life is all about meeting the challenges head on. So you have to be willing to learn from experience, change the things. I mean, if it requires the changes, change it. I mean, don't worry about the changes, I mean, like, I was, look, just now I was using altogether a different app. Now I've switched over to a different app. I mean, I've changed my app. Now this was the need of the hour. So if we can't be getting, stuck with one thing and close all the doors. I mean, it's like stifling our imagination and being in a straitjacket. You have to be open. You have to be honest. You have to be willing to share and discuss your experiences. Sometimes people will laugh at your experiences or laugh at your, bizarre opinion. But don't worry about that and let them laugh. I mean, life is all about, having your own perspective. I'm reminded of Plato, the great philosopher. He says, your opinion is the medium of knowledge and your ignorance. If you're getting it right, I hope you understand the point. You get the point. I mean, it's your opinion that always matters. I mean, don't hide your opinion. Don't feel shy. Don't run away from the scene. Don't think that people are going to reject, disapprove of your opinions, and it may be, you will be a laughing stock on others. So Plato says, have your opinion, because this is going to bridge the gap between your ignorance and your knowledge. I mean, you could be ignorant, and out of foolishness, you could have made some remark, but that will pave the way for, that will be a stepping stone towards acquiring the right kind of knowledge, right? Do you agree, guys?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's in our lifetime also. If you are a mother, if you're a father, if you are a brother, I mean, you have to allow your children to go to the kitchen, to go to, outside in the street, to go to evaluate their own skills, ask them to purchase, ask them to make bargains, ask them to evaluate the gains. Yeah, wonderful, Rida. Yeah. They evaluate the gain before and after event experience and build upon it. Yeah, to the rest. It's all about building upon what you have learned so far, what you are going to learn later, and how you're going to, make the most out of the mistakes. I mean, if you would like to call them mistakes, I never call them mistakes, actually. I call them learning steps. Because believe me, the whole thing is that our success comes after 99.9% of our failures. Our success only, knocks at the door after 99.99 failures. Yeah, twists and trials. Yeah, you're right, in the twists and trials, yeah. So, I mean, if I have to conclude, I mean, concisely summarize your feelings, understand, reached after readings and have an experience, it changes your actions in the future or not. So reflective writing helps us to learn from. Guys, I want you to slowly read the, this slide so that you take a stock of what really, required of, to write a reflective writing. Although, unless you give it a try, it's not going to work, because it's all about holding the pen and a paper, or who holds the pen and paper these days. If you're using your device, hit the device, head on, go to the device, and straight away spontaneously start sharing experience. And obviously you will build on your expertise so far that you have learned. Your expertise is important as per evidence-based practice. That means, suppose, I mean, somebody mentioned about the workplace, like nursing and all that. So the first day your encounter with the patient, with the impatient patient, I mean, every patient seems to be dying and he wants your attention, the first attention, right? And we find different kind of people in the workplace, and we have to deal with all kinds of people, right? So here I'd like to mention about this guy. He has got a reflective cycle. 1988 he came upon this cycle, and this gives us paraphernalia or the bits of how we go about this reflective writing, like description, feelings, evaluation. It's not evaluation of scoring. It's evaluation of the pros and cons, of your weaknesses, your ifs and buts, your downside, or your strengths, key strengths and weaknesses. Actually, key strengths and weaknesses. Now, if you guys, you're evaluating yourself, what do you start with? Your strengths or your weaknesses? Guys, I'm wanting to
sorry, what is the question?
Strength, yeah.
Weaknesses and point.
Omar says it's strength. Anwar Rashid says weaknesses. Okay, now I'm confused about Zada says strength. Now let's think about, evaluate. If we start our strengths, we feel great, right? And we feel like as if, oh, I'm really good at these, a number of things. But when you think of weaknesses, you're visiting your inner core and you're reflecting upon all those things that you could turn into strength. I mean, like every weakness can be turned into strength, right?
Yes.
I mean, every weakness depends, can be turned into our strength. It depends upon how positively, how steadfast, how, I mean, with the spiritual beliefs also. I mean, like we spent 2 years of Corona, right? So this was one of the, the worst trauma that we underwent. But despite that, with our belief system and with our inner strength, the power, we overcame the weakness. And now we come to know that, oh, it's just Corona. It's just a simple virus. It's a flu. It's nothing else, I mean, we can always overcome and always fight back. We can always have, vaccination, and we're prepared for it. And our life will go on like before. So evaluation is all about our yeah, I mean, it's not about your weaknesses. I mean, it could be a good idea to think of our strength first, because if you're going for an interview for a job, obviously you're not going to talk about your weaknesses first. You will have to talk about your key strength. And what distinguishes from the other candidates. Only then you will stand a chance of being selected, right? So positive anxiety is necessary. Yeah, right. I mean, when we are a bit worried about, like I'm giving this presentation, I'm thinking about altogether so many things at the same time, and I'm reflecting. I'm also thinking of viewing, and also thinking of how is the response, how is the impact, what are the takeaways, how I'm going to influence the people, and all that. So at the same time, I mean, our mind works in a bizarre ways, and it talks about it thinks in a different manner. So a good analysis, it really helps us to get the right kind of echo. I mean, the vibe, we call it vibe, right? V-I-B-E, right? So when we say positive vibes, it's nothing but the, inner key strengths, right?
Right.
So we have the positive vibes. That means you are fully geared for meeting the challenge. It's not that you are a Superman and you're going to fly like a, like a, Spider-Man. No human can fly like Spider-Man. In fact, it's all about our positive vibes that makes us gear up for taking up challenges, all kinds of challenges. So then we have a better preparation for the action challenges. We can be better ready for. So what might reflect upon in day-to-day life? I mean, I'm giving you some examples here. just race through these examples, guys, all of you. I'm always late for the work. Now, how are we going to be on time? I mean, it's all about our psychology. I mean, it's in our head. I mean, if I like to be late, I mean, on time, yes, I'll be on time. I'll cheat all the traffic. I'll be, yeah. A bit of worry is momentous for the improvement. Definitely, yeah. It's called positive vibe, you know. Like when we are a bit nervous, we take extra care of ourselves. We are likely to get less involved with, you know, making goof ups or mistakes. That was a great holiday. I mean, everyone, all of us goes for a holiday, but sometimes holidays are a nightmare, right? I mean, you might lose a wallet, you might lose a passport, you might encounter somebody nasty, unpleasant people on the way. So it's not always great. So there could be great holidays. There could be, terrible holidays. I have had a very productive Corona homestay. Now, believe me, I mean, there are so many of us, including myself. I had a very productive Corona homestay. I mean, I never, bothered to worry about how Corona is going to negatively or adversely affect me. In fact, it emboldened my spirit. It left me more, reflective. In fact, it kept reflecting on myself, the good things, the real thing, the meaning, how we can make the meaning of life, you know. Otherwise, it was all about shopping. It's all about going to the supermarket. It's all about family takeouts and all about spending time in, So, I mean, we reflect our productive outcome. So I keep running out of money. I mean, there are people that always they always need money. I mean, why somebody always need money? Why the other people are always satisfied with whatever they've got? So obviously, it's not about money per se. It's about, how you make the most of the money you have got, right? I mean, I hope I'm making sense. My blessed audience, I hope I'm making sense.
Yes, indeed.
Right? I mean, it's up to us how to make the most what we have got, right? Otherwise, we'll always be running out of something, right? So it's all about reflecting upon our past deeds, our pros and cons. Now, look, if you go to the process of chart for reflective thinking, you get lost. I mean, this is kind of this reflecting thinking chart. We can have plenty of thoughts, plenty of thoughts. Every thought, triggers of another thought process, and also has experiences, altogether different experiences. So if you have a look up this reflective writing for maybe formal study, maybe for your workplace, maybe for problems and difficulties, maybe for evaluation, maybe for a judgment, maybe for what you have learned so far, maybe the best work audience, maybe just looking back, like reminiscing your past, and maybe your commitment level towards your job, and I mean reminiscence. I guess you guys are familiar with the word reminiscence. Reminisce. What does that mean? Reminisce. Anyone? What about nostalgia? I mean, being nostalgic, to think back, right? Yeah, that's what we do when we reflect upon. We definitely go back, and then we get nostalgic about. So it's time now to practice some of the reflective writing. I'm giving you some of the input here. It's up to you to try your hands. I mean, how you're going to do it. And believe me, I mean, once you start writing, you will improve, definitely will improve. But even hundreds of workshops like these, I mean, won't help you get to the bottom of the and to the crux of the writing, whether it's reflective or descriptive or narrative or I mean, writing is all about taking the first step. I mean, the first small step will begin with and you will take it to the giant steps. And this is my experience and the experience of all the esteemed colleagues, the teachers, those who, I mean, writing comes handy only when we start practicing it. Is it right? Because in our head, we can think of so many things, but when it comes to jotting down, I mean, we are at a loss, right? So pick up the pen, pick up your laptop or device, and start with the journal writing. I suggest all of you to start the daily journal writing to start with, because that would give you a practice of how to collect your ideas. And believe me, I mean, before going to bed, if you just scribble something, just scribble, start with scribbling, that would really help you with, getting to know about, how to collect your ideas, how to gather information, how to, organize them, how to have a good hook thesis, and how to have a good conclusion, and how to make connections that you already know of. I mean, all of you have got some linguistic, writing skill abilities. The only thing is that they have to be put into practice. So you can make proposal. You can go for diary entry, diary writing. That's a good way of say the reflective thinking. This looks like this. What do you see in the mirror, guys? Guys, what do you see in the mirror?
Myself.
Yeah, it's past. This guy used to be like different profession, and now these are some of the examples how to write a reflective writing. Now just read the first few lines. That's a starter. That's a taster. I mean, that gives you a starter. Yeah, network connections. With completing the first term in the constructed self class, I was able to benefit from a variety of new things from the class. This is about reflection of the first class and his refreshing memory on things he already knew and what he learned new. This is one example. Another example I'll show you. The guys, kinesiology. I don't know whether you're familiar with this term or not. This means, definition is the study of physical activity through performance, scholarly analysis, and professional practice. So to me, this means that you learn to understand how the body sports. I mean, he's trying to reflect that this kinesiology study is what for him or her. So it's like professional field, and this is reflective writing about a particular branch of knowledge, stream of knowledge. Anyway, you're going to get all these slides, if you're interested in looking at these, examples, because I think we're running. I mean, we're almost close to towards the last few minutes, couple of minutes left, like 10 minutes left, right? So, in fact, I wanted you guys to show me some few opening thesis statement, or the kind of hook, the kind of attention grabber for writing a reflection paper. Let's see if we are left with time. And when you write, you also maintain the right tone. What is the tone? I mean, like, you cannot talk to a silly person or a street monger or a taxi driver in the kind of register that you talk to your teacher or your elderly people. So you have to change your tone. I mean, you have to grade the tone. Also, it's good to cite your sources, like the kind of resources you have used, and this to cite authority sources. I mean, like, where did you get those things? Apart from your personal opinion, because sometimes even personal opinion have to be authenticated and corroborated with kind of correct links. And don't forget, guys, that proofreading is obviously it's required, and it's the key to having a good, final product, right? Now, in the grammatical errors, most of the time we're looking for spelling errors and punctuation, and depending upon what kind of, obviously, a good write-up which calls for distinction and which stands out among the write-up will have no flaws and will have no linguistic lack, or will be free from the errors. Yeah. Thank you so much. I guess, I'm not left with time for you guys to let you know about. So this is a review. You already have got the link for the feedback. And I would love to get back to you with any other queries and concerns. And it was lovely having an interactive session with you guys. And I really found many of you great and quite engaging and very involved. And really enjoy talking to you in the chat box most of the time. And I hope that you guys turn out to be great writers one day. If not the great writer, at least you should be able to express yourself in a clear and impressive manner. Thank you so much, guys. I'm left with 5 minutes. If there are any questions, please get back to me. I'm dying to hear from you. Any volume questions? Come on, pose me with any sort of questions. And probably hoping to have cleared your mind and have brought about something which is relevant to you. Thank you so much, all of you guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohammed, for this very informative lecture about how to write a reflective or reflection paper. So thank you so much. Thank you all for attending the workshop. I shared with you 3 links. The first one is the evaluation form, and the second one is our booking system, and the third one is our YouTube channel. Inshallah, we will upload the recording of this wonderful workshop, inshallah, within 48 hours as well. We will send you your certificate, but please complete the evaluation form. Make sure you write your name, your email address correctly. So we'll have a couple more minutes. If you have any questions or comments, you can post it here in the chat or open your mic and ask your question. Thank you. Thank you again.
Yes, guys, I'm impatiently waiting for any questions from any corner.
Sorry.
Thank you, Diana.
Can we say that in brief way that reflective writing is a kind of report on self-experience or on one's own experience?
Yes, of course. This is a kind of report, which is, hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So this is a kind of report, and it's a document. In fact, it's a document you are supposed to submit, or you ask for it when you go for pursuing any new stream, or you leave the institution, or even your workplace. It's like a credential, It's like your profile summary, where you get to share your personal beliefs and experiences that you have. You had, and honest. Is it quite honest and self-reflective analysis of your personal key strengths and weaknesses. It also includes weaknesses, not just strengths. That's very important.
Good, clear.
Thank you, Hussein. Bhai. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So it seems that there are no more comments or questions. Stay tuned. Inshallah, we have another workshop coming up this week on Wednesday, how to write or how to develop a theoretical framework. This is dedicated for graduate students. So stay tuned. Thank you again, Mr. Haseen. And thank you
so much.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll see you, inshallah, on Wednesday.